All right, what's up?
You rested Sarah on Saturday, just you
Yeah.
expect her to play on Wednesday? Tomorrow?
Is she what?
You expect her to play
Oh,
tomorrow?
yeah, she will. Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things where, I hope, you know, I hope with the whole team actually at this time of the year, you know, the most important thing is just make sure that we're good to go for March, and, same with Blanca, you know, I'm sure, you know, Blanca wants to be playing right now, so there's no point in taking any chances.
How do you manage that line between like wanting them to be in shape and conditioned and everything versus
Yeah.
load managing at this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, I use that word load management because that seems to be, you know, the average fan out there goes, oh, they're resting them because it's time to rest, but, you know, obviously we don't do that. Obviously the kids don't want to do that, you know, so this is more, you know, I'm sore, so let's take a day off. How do you manage it? I think, you know, I think our athletic trainers and strength and conditioning people do a pretty good job of making sure that, you know, they keep their wind. I mean, there's nothing like playing, don't get me wrong. But the last couple of days in practice, you know, we kind of do just enough, you know, to try to maintain that and then go from there.
So are you giving Blanca a little extra time to get back? Or
No.
she's still just
No,
working
she's
her
just
way
started
up?
doing workouts, so
Okay.
she's progressing her way up. So the last 2 days, she's done some workouts, and hopefully there'll be a progression, and who knows, maybe this Saturday could be the day.
Geno, what's your take on the national picture right now? You've obviously played a lot of ranked teams and beaten them, but a lot of teams out there that you haven't played, you've seen like Texas and South Carolina this year, some of the others. What's your take on the strength and the depth of the field that you're going to ultimately end up facing?
That's hard to say, you know. If you look at what everybody's saying, theoretically, knock on wood, I guess, the same four teams are the same four teams that they're picking this year to be, you know, in the Final Four. So, in that respect, it's probably, you know, same as it's always been. But there are games that are being played that outcomes are different than they normally would be. You know, the same teams aren't winning when you go beyond the four teams that they're talking about. So there's more unpredictability, it seems. You know, you get a team that goes from nothing to, or 15th to 5th, and then 2 weeks later they're 17th, you know, or you get a team that, you know, like Duke, that drops out completely, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're 11th, you know. So there's been a lot of unpredictability this year, which probably bodes well for the NCAA tournament, you know, that there's maybe more unpredictable outcomes for the tournament. I haven't had a chance to see every single team play. I'm sure I will in time, but from afar, that's what it seems like.
So is the post play right now your biggest concern in terms of where you're going to need to get better to match up with some of the teams you may see later?
It's a double-edged sword, I think, in some ways. There are times when we play and we sacrifice giving up some size defensively for what we gain offensively, where their big guys can't guard us on the perimeter. So it's just always a chess match of, you know, if we can't go big and match your big, then we go small, and I think in some ways, you know, that's a different problem for the other team, you know. And that's kind of what we did in the NCAA tournament last year, you know, the UCLA game maybe being a little bit different in that defensively anyway, I think our big guys really set the tone early in the game. But I think ultimately what won it for us is our ability to spread the floor and make it difficult for people's big guys to come out, you know, because I don't know that we'll ever be able to match some people's bigs, you know. It seems like there's teams that are really big There's teams that are not as big, there's teams that shoot the three great, there's teams that don't. You know, so that's why I think you worry about that stuff come March, but in the meantime, yeah, there's a lot of things that we could do if we could get more consistent play from our big guys. Both defensively and offensively, there's more things that we could do, for sure. But it does change our team when Sarah's not the hub and we're not playing through her all the time with 4 guards around her, or 4 players around, especially with Blanca. You know, if you take Sarah and Blanca out of the lineup, then it's crucial that the big guys have to play well. But if you have those 2 guys in there, it's a whole different story.
Have you learned anything having Blanca out for this like more extended period? Just kind of.
Yeah, I shouldn't be as pissy with her as I am. You know, she drives you crazy because of how many things she wants to do. I know, but when you watch film and you watch the games, you see how much she impacts the game. And yeah, even in the Notre Dame game where she, you know, we were looking at it and said, wow, that was her first big game. She played horrible. Then you look at the film and you go, yeah, she had horrible moments, but she was really good. So when she's not out there, yeah, you know, trust me, I ask her every day, you know, how long is your vacation gonna last? I don't know whether she's went back to Italy, Ecuador, I don't know where she was. I just check all the airports, make sure she's still here.
Do you see any similarity in how Sarah is just, when she's playing, she's all-encompassing impact versus maybe when Paige was playing, she was all-encompassing impact versus when Paige wasn't playing?
I don't think. I think, you know, Paige, by her nature, dominated the ball a lot, and we were okay with that. We preferred that. And right now, we don't have a ball-dominant guard, so Sarah does get an opportunity to, and we look at her to be kind of, you know, that role that Paige filled, except she's, you know, she does it in a different way that actually, you know, maybe puts a different kind of pressure on the other team. But our other guys are going to have to play great. That's all there is to it. You know, for us to go where we want to go, do what we want to do. You know, every night we need really good games from Ash and KK and Heckle and Allie and, you know, obviously Sarah Williams, Jenna. Those guys have to play well every night. They don't have to play spectacularly great. We need the other 3 guys to play great. But those guys have to play really, really well. And I think that's what probably separates us from being like a great team and a really good team. You know, we can be a great team if those guys are doing their thing. You know, like we can be like in the second half of the Tennessee game or the first half of the Tennessee game where we weren't great. We were just really good. So that's where I think it's gonna end up being